Hybrid working brings a huge range of benefits for employees: sleep, eating habits, stress levels, overall sense of well-being. According to a survey of over 1,000 workers, and the large majority reported feeling less drained at 79%,
Mm.
78% less stressed, 72% less anxious, and as a result of spending part of the week working from home. Welcome back, folks. It's another episode of It's About Your Paycheck. We are up to episode 30?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, man.
You sure?
Yep. So
My
that to your age.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
30.
My partner in crime over here, Willie Walt, what we
Well,
call him. What's up, Walt?
waffle
How you
wall.
doing today, sir? Waffle Walt.
Oh man.
Talk about multiple jobs.
Work trauma. No, I'm good, man. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good, bro. Having a great weekend so far. Just going through it, man. It's all good, man. I'm good, bro. Yeah, man.
Good, man.
Wifey, so it's Father's Day, and wifey was just like,
Happy
"Oh
Father's
man,
Day.
thank you, bro." It was like, have a good day. I want you to have a good. I was like, "Yeah, we'll work." And she's, "Oh man," like both of us, we both work over the weekends and we mix it into the weekend and whatnot. But it's what it is, man. It is. We had a good day yesterday, though. We had a lot of fun yesterday,
Yeah.
chilling, had a nice day. I don't I hate that it always falls on a Sunday. It should be a Saturday because you want to have a good time. You got to take off Monday if you want to have a really good time on Sunday.
The good thing is that you can celebrate each other whenever you want.
Amen. Amen.
Not just on
That's
the
right.
designated days, man.
That's right, bro. No doubt. That's right,
Okay.
because it's Father's Day every day, really.
Yeah.
If you're a good
Father's
father,
Day.
anyway. Yeah.
Mother's Day.
If you,
Pappy's.
what is that?
I said Pappy's Day.
Oh, Pappy's. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. So yeah, we're talking about multiple jobs today, working multiple jobs. That being a dad is definitely a multiple job. Being a single mom. Shout out to all the moms out there that don't got the down. No shout outs to the deadbeat dads. I saw a post yesterday that it was like, get ready for all the single moms who claim Father's Day too.
Yeah.
Like not for nothing, they should. If you got
Oh,
absentee parent, not for nothing, it goes both ways in this day and age.
mhm,
I've met folks that the mom bounced. I'm out.
mhm.
Peace. See you later. So it goes both ways. This day and age, where there's a lot of equality and whatever. So, but anyway, shout out to all the single parents, period, that are out there doing them themselves and just
Yep.
have been intentional about being a decent, trying to be like, you know, I don't know. We didn't get too far down that rabbit hole, but as long as you're
So there's,
trying to be a good parent, that's what counts. You're not gonna nail it every time. You're
there's
not
no
gonna nail
perfect,
it. There's no
no
perfect.
perfect people, no perfect parents, no
Nope.
perfect spouses, no perfect employees. Nobody's
Word.
perfect.
Right, there you go. See what I'm
Yep.
saying? No doubt. But yeah, anywho, as we get into today, we talk about working multiple jobs. We're going to give you the pros and cons, some legalities to think about, little
Mhm.
case studies that we found, interesting conversation. We're not going to cover it all in one show. Like, none of our shows will ever encompass the entirety of the
Yeah.
subjects, like, is it too much? It's
Yeah.
so much. And it's the same way on our other podcasts as well. It's about payroll. We try to give you all enough to go and think and be like, oh man, I need to research some stuff. Now I know
Yes.
what to pull on. Now I know what to Google. Now I know what to research because
Yeah.
it's way too much to
So
ever
much.
maybe now we're in 30 shows and we might have covered one subject in its entirety,
Yeah.
but even we're up to 100 and change on the payroll show, and we still, it's just
Yeah.
always evolving. That's the beauty of it. That's what gives us like the motivation to keep doing this, because there's so much to talk about. And we just, again, I always say, like, when me and Walt started this, we were worried about running out of content. Right.
Yeah.
I think Walt said something like, we're only gonna be able to do a few shows, Brian. I was like,
I did say that.
I agreed with you at that time. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, what can we
know
do?
why? Why it was because we try to come up with different ideas. What can we talk about? Oh man,
Yeah.
and we were limited in our own thinking about what the
Hmm.
employee topics could be about. And
Yes.
now
Yes.
we found out, oh, there's so much stuff. We're
So
never going
much,
to run out of content.
we will not, right. We
Hmm.
yeah. So Exactly. So let's get into it. We have some pay news articles first, right? We're always going to give you some current events and news first. I believe Walt set me up. Yeah, here we go. Walt set me up first. Mine was interesting, right? Because it overlaps. It's about hybrid workers. Now, hybrid, remote. I'm a big fan of remote and hybrid working. I
Mm,
thrived at home. It was something that I had always wanted to do early on is work from home because before the pandemic, it was like this goal that you had to work towards to ever even be able to do that. And honestly, I only thought I was going to get there like doing my own business.
mm,
But the pandemic came and changed the game, but now we have companies that are really wanting to get folks back into the office. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not sure
mm,
why companies feel that way. I do hybrid as a middle ground because there are some things that are the fellowship of it, the camaraderie of it, of
yeah, yeah,
seeing it so is cool.
yeah.
And then what gets me mad is that over the last few months, really, I've been hearing just negative articles about working from home. And I'm like,
Hmm.
dang, man. I was telling Walt the other day, even there's a job that, I'm sorry, there's a post on, I don't know, TikTok, whatever, the social media, where they're like, it's a video skit and they do the Soul Train line for somebody walking
Yeah,
through, and the caption is when the 100% remote employee comes into work. And like it just sets like such a bad tone for,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And I'm just like,
yeah,
although it's a funny thing, this is why, come on. So anyway,
yeah.
anyhow, I finally found a really good article that supports the name of the article, and it's from theguardian.com, and of course the link will be in the show notes. And the name of the
Hmm.
article is Hybrid Working Makes Employees Happier, Healthier, and More Productive. Studies show. Oh, study shows. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. I love the stats that it talks about. So it says three quarters said going back to work 5 days a week in an office would damage their well being.
Hmm.
Hybrid workers make employees happier, healthier, more productive. And according to research among UK staff who divided their work week between home and the office, three quarters of those who work flexibly found they felt less burnout than when they spent their whole week in the office.
Hmm.
Hybrid working brings a huge range of benefits for employees: sleep, eating habits, stress levels, overall sense of well being, according to survey of over 1,000 workers. And the large majority reported feeling less drained at 79%,
Mm.
78% less stressed, 72% less anxious, and as a result of spending part of the week working from home.
Wow.
Meanwhile, 86% said that the increase in the amount of free time that they had from no longer having to travel to work every day improved their work life balance and helped them feel that they could cope better with the challenges of daily life. In period, said the survey is from International Workplace Group. And
Nice.
a few more things here. Hybrid workers cited benefits including better, 68% said they have better quality of sleep, 54% more, they said that they exercise more, 8% says they have healthier meal
Hmm.
preparation, and 68% just overall better health. And then again, just to reiterate, three quarters of it, 75% of the employees said that going back to work 5 days a week would damage their well being. Yep. Yeah, I thought it was a great. There's more to it. If you want to dig into it, the link will be in the show notes. But how appropriate this article was overlaps on the multiple jobs that we're going to talk
Yep.
about. There's a remote piece in there that I'm going to address. I think Walt's going to start us off on this. Oh no, I'm sorry, bro. Your article. What do you have to share with us today?
I just wanted to get some information about how many of Americans are working multiple jobs, and
Mm,
finance.yahoo.com had a good
I was
article
thinking. Yep.
on it,
Yes.
and it said right now, at the time of the article, there was 8.7 million Americans that now work multiple jobs.
Yep.
And I'm not, there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go too deep into all of it, but I'm just going to go through it and let you know some stuff about why. And think it coincides perfectly with the topic that we have for
Yep.
multiple jobs today. So, number one, there's a contrast with the stock market, right? So, the stock market has been doing good, despite everything, according to this article by Yahoo, the stock market there's been optimism and stuff like that. So there's been contrast with how the stock market is. People are optimistic about that, but Americans are struggling. So there's that contrast. There's also a job. We have that jobs report that comes out from the government and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're saying there's a discrepancy between that because it shows job growth and declining employment, but it said it doesn't, however, reflect economic hardships that are faced by many Americans today. It said that the number of multiple job holders has increased at its highest since before the pandemic, increasing by hundreds of thousands per month, with 8.4 million in October. And now it's at, I think at the time of this article, it was at, which was written in December, I think, or January, it was at 8.7. So it might be even higher now in the present moment, just in those 2 months, it went up.
Wow.
And so I did a quick, because they didn't have a stat in the article that I saw, but there's 100 and estimated 161 Americans as of December 2023 were working. So if you do the math, 10% of that is 16 million, and then
Okay.
half of that would be that 8 million people that are working multiple
Multiple
jobs. So
jobs.
5%.
5% of
So
the
it doesn't seem
workforce.
doesn't seem like a lot, but it's slowly
Yeah.
creeping up.
It
And
is.
then yeah, yeah. And the article also went to talk about economic pressures that people face, the economic gap widening with less financial stability, increasing for many. And then it had talked about some broader implications about like how that impacts consumer spending, mental health, and overall quality of life. It talks about poverty and economic strain. It says that in 2022, almost 40 million Americans were living in poverty. So think about that. If 100 and something, 160 million Americans are working, and 40 million of those people are living in poverty, that's a big chunk of those people, right?
Yep.
It's almost 30% living in poverty,
Yeah.
right? So
And
you got to think about that. Go ahead.
no, because it sounds so bad. Not that isn't bad, but the poverty is defined as a wage that folks get, or like a income that they bring in. Doesn't mean that they're like
Hmm.
living in dirt huts, right? It
Hmm.
just means that their wages are below a defined poverty level. And I
Yeah.
believe the last time I checked, it was like at 12 grand a year or something like that. If you made 12,000 or less a year, I'm gonna look it up while Walt continues.
It talks about financial insecurity, that why individuals struggle with who jobs struggle to meet basic needs, and which made it difficult to get ahead, and also made home ownership often unattainable for those people. They don't have they're just trying to make it, and they don't have
Yeah,
any
you know
down
the
payment
means.
or anything.
Yeah, for real.
The article also talked about, which I found interesting, that there has been a rise in people in the amount of Americans who are selling their blood and plasma, with up to 8% of Americans doing so annually. So that's for
8%
them to get
increase.
money.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's another piece of the stat that said that kind of coincides with the 11% of Americans that live below the poverty line.
Yeah.
Those are probably some of the same people that
Yeah,
are selling
for
their
sure.
blood just having to make some money. I'm just going,
Yeah.
let them drain me.
It's but it's the plasma though, because
Hmm.
wife used to work for the blood center, so the blood not so much, but it was the plasma that really that was like not serious money, but I remember her saying, "Oh
Hmm.
no, you get money for that, and it's a different thing." And but whoever, just fun fact, whatever.
Yeah. Yep. And again, they touched on the stock market and how the stock market has been, like they've seen a 20% increase in the stock market, so it's been good. But like inflation, you and I are feeling this. Everybody that's connected with us, that's most likely working jobs right now, that is not in the 1% of high earners or whatever it is. We're all feeling it. We're all
Yeah.
feeling
Heck
inflation, and
yeah.
we're all going through it, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's all I have.
Oh, was that damn? You went that through that quick.
Hmm.
The poverty level in 2024 for one person is $15,000. So if you make 15,000 or less,
Hmm.
$15,060 is the exact number.
So that's what,
It's
like 750, seven something an hour.
Yeah, I get minimum wage, right? I get
Yeah.
federal. Basically, if you make federal minimum wage, you are poor. Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right. It is about minimum wage. That's sad.
It's like
No, it's see, you getting like me laughing when it's like when it's so uncomfortable, right? Like
I'm
it's
laughing
laughing
because it's
to keep
crazy.
from crying, laugh to keep from crying, because that
Yeah,
is crazy. But it kind of, I think folks have to remember that it does not justify it. Okay,
yeah,
but this
yeah,
is why capitalism is good and bad. America's built on capitalist system. Now, folks who are very heavy into politics can argue, "Oh no, we're part socialist, we're part dictator." Yeah, sure, sure. I'm not a political intellect, so I can't argue with you. But I do know that America was built on capitalism, and capitalism is built pull yourself up by the bootstraps, get your life to you become as successful as you want to
yeah,
be. You put the work in, and for the most part, it is true. Sometimes it takes a little longer for others to crack that egg and really make an omelet. Wow, look, I'm
yeah.
just making up, but you know, that's what it was built on. So I'm not surprised that minimum wage keeps you at the poverty level. You know what I mean?
Yep,
I'm not surprised. And this is,
yep,
by the way, it's on. I'll throw the link in the show notes here for this one. It's a government website, Office of Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation.gov. So
yeah.
that's the source of this information. You can go. I'm gonna throw it in here in the show notes with our stuff.
Nice. Thank
Um,
you, sir.
yeah, just little things that come up that are interesting. And then what I was trying to look at before also, because I felt like the 160 million employees, the people working right now, was low because
Hmm.
there's probably around 300 to 400 million Americans.
Hmm.
But you have to take into account, looked it up. I was like, wait, how many Americans are working age? Not
Hmm.
working
In
age,
age. Hmm.
and there's 208 million, 200, almost 209 million that are at working age, and working age is defined between 15 and 64.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
just interesting. But now that does not say that that's not counting disability. Who now of that group who are able to work? Because you
Yeah,
may be
who are able,
64, you may not be
who are
able to work. You may be
retired,
15.
retired,
Yeah, not
don't have
all
a
15
job.
years are working. Yeah,
Yeah,
so 160 million, then it makes more sense that
yeah,
160 million folks are working, maybe around half of the population of Americans.
that's awesome. Thank you
Um,
for doing that. Yeah,
yeah, no, just little things to think about. Um, so yeah, we're gonna, I guess, get a little bit more into it now with the multiple job piece. So you want to start us off, sir?
but before we do, we got a message from our sponsors. Right?
Oh, wait, yes. Where is it
Yeah,
though?
it's right here.
Is
Um,
it? Oh, boom! I did not see it. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, a
hmm,
message from our good folks at Time Track Go. Shout out to all the folks there. They're extending their free 1 month trial, and it's
hmm,
as a result of a new law that's coming into place effective July 1. The salary threshold is being raised from 43,888 $43,000 to $58,000. And this means basically if you're a salaried employee now and you make under $58,000, look out, start talking to your HR. If your HR hasn't talked to you already, you might want to get a heads up on what's going to happen with your salary or your designation as an exempt employee. So salary and exempt are synonymous for the most part, meaning if you're a salaried employee, you are most likely exempt from overtime. Means
yeah,
you do not qualify for overtime, but there's certain thresholds and testings that apply to make that true, right?
yeah,
So the DOL has a testing thing, so that salary threshold is going to increase on July 1, and your company will have to make a decision on whether they're going to raise your salary
oh,
or
okay,
make you overtime eligible.
hmm,
Okay. So either way now, and unfortunately, folks, if you're at $44,000, this is because the threshold is $43,888. I don't know how they come up with these numbers. Just round it out. Like what?
yeah,
Anywho, if you're there, you're most unfortunately, my guess is you're gonna become overtime eligible because it's
yeah,
a big jump to now raise your salary almost $20,000,
Yep.
right? They're most likely not going to do that, folks, unless there's one of you at that company and you're amazing. Like it is, because you think about it, most big companies, they got a bunch of salaried people at that number, and they can't afford it.
So yes, it depends on your industry and everything. So your job should do their research, and they should be doing testing from the point
Yeah.
of, like, for OT example, they should say, okay, what is our average OT? Like like how is that going to impact? Do we have are
Yes.
we in an industry that these people work a lot of hours? Might be prudent or beneficial for them to
To raise
raise
you.
your
That's a
salary.
good point. Thank you for saying that. See Walt coming with the good news. But I Time Track Go is being very thoughtful about this and is saying, you know
Yeah,
what? We may have a lot more folks out there that are gonna need the time system. So
yeah.
go out and check out Time Track Go, and Walt can finish it off from there.
Yeah, because as Brian was saying, that means that there may be millions of people that are going to be required to track time and attendance now.
Yep.
And so, whether you're new to it or you're just looking to make a change, Time Track Go really provides a great, simply better solution that can have you up and running in a matter of minutes, right? So,
Yeah.
if you follow the link in our episode notes, you'll also be able to get your first month free, which I think is really awesome. So, don't
Yeah.
miss out. Take advantage of this special offer. Use the link in the show notes that we just spoke of to start your 14-day trial in the month of June to qualify for that first month free. So if you want to learn more, you can go to www.timetrackgo.com. That's www.timetrack go.com, or you can call 888-321-9922. Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you guys at Time Track. All right. And now
Yes.
we will get into it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right. Again, we're talking about working multiple jobs.
Hmm.
Um, and Walt has put some pros and cons together. I got
And
some legal stuff that I'm gonna talk about. And some what else?
yeah,
What you got?
some considerations we gotta
Ooh, yeah, I
talk
see
about.
that now. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll take us through it, man.
All right. So I'm gonna start off with the pros, and then we're gonna go to the cons. Probably
Build them
Brian
up
gonna
and break them
shift to,
down. Sorry.
yeah, build them up, break it down. All right. So the pros. It's four pros, right? Of course, there could be more. These are just
Yeah,
right.
something to think
So,
about. Yeah.
so number one, the positives, right? You get more money. We're living in hard
Uh,
times. We need to make
yeah.
ends meet, working multiple jobs. You can cover more expenses, pay off that debt, or save for future goals. Sometimes there are people who are in decent positions and they're like, you know what, I need that second job so I can have
Yeah.
the lifestyle that I want, so I can save for the future, so I can retire
Yeah.
and those different things. And the second pro is it'll help you develop those skills. So working in different roles can help employees. You can get a diverse skill set. You can be a
I like that.
professional during the day and then and then be a blue collar person at night or in the evening,
Yeah.
or do a gig
Or vice
economy,
versa. Yeah.
Uber or
Yeah.
whatever, vice versa. And then
I like it.
those, go ahead.
No, no, I like it. I like it. Sorry.
Oh, and then number three, it provides opportunity to network, right? You never know who you'll possibly meet
Yep.
in working those multiple jobs, right? You may run into somebody that's gonna take your life in a different area or whatever just by working those multiple things, and you can build a broader professional network that way
Yep.
potentially. And then number four is it adds a little bit, and if you think about it, adds a little bit of job security, like by having multiple sources of income. Because hey, okay, if I lose one, then maybe I can just go full time at the other one. Or if you're savvy and you work two full time remote jobs, you'll have something else to
We're gonna
fall
talk
on
about that. Yep.
because there's some people that are doing that. So that's the pros. Brian's gonna cover the cons real quick.
All right. So some of the cons are, um, of course, increased stress and fatigue. It is what it is, which also leads to number two, which is limited personal time. If you do what you love, it may not be a problem, but if you're doing two things you hate, then your stress and fatigue will increase, your work
Yes.
satisfaction decreases, and then of course number three is it could lead to potential burnout. You're
Mm.
just nobody is a machine yet. Cyborgs are not here yet. You're
You
gonna
did number two?
I did number two, yeah, limited personal time.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And again, which these two lead to burnout and then possibly you could have a possible conflict of interest.
Mm.
And it again, just so it's so awesome that it all overlaps, because I'm going to get into this in my segment as I talk through some of these things here. Because if you're working for competing companies or have overlapping job responsibilities, it can lead to conflicts of interest and ethical dilemmas. So
Ooh.
be careful there. And I think I'm going to touch on it again, but look at your handbook, read your employee handbooks, as we've said
Yeah.
a few times on this show. I know
Don't
Walt's
actively avoid it. Don't actively avoid it.
Walt discovered 67% of employees actively don't read it. You know what I mean? So
I ain't
try
reading
not
that.
to, let's
I
just
ain't
try to
reading that
change
crap.
that. Was that?
I ain't reading that crap.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll be honest. I hadn't started reading it until I got more serious about payroll and realized
Mhm.
that the handbook actually has things in there that as a payroll professional you have to be mindful of. That's when I started reading him, but I was 5 or so years into my career where I was just like, oh, wait a minute, what?
I gotta read the handbook
I
too. Oh
gotta. You don't got to, but it it
yeah,
makes you a
definitely.
better payroll professional
Yeah.
to be proactive about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you want to cover the considerations.
Yeah, we'll go through them. So some considerations, and then we'll elaborate on these a little bit more, especially the legal parts of it.
Yeah, I got
So
some legal stuff. Yeah.
we talked on it already. Work life balance, right? That like that limited personal time. Like yeah,
Burnout.
so,
Yep.
yeah, burnout. So you want to evaluate whether the additional income is even worth it to
Yes.
like how it
Yes.
might impact your personal life or your health. There's a
Yep.
saying that Brian and I came up with: "All money ain't good money."
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So I think Brian said the other day, and I just held on to it like all money ain't good money.
Another thing real quick about it
Mhm.
is do the math. If Because I remember at one point I had somebody on my team that kept wanting to do a second job, right? He worked
Yes.
for me hourly and he kept wanting to do a second job, and I'm like, and I had to tell him, yo, that you could actually do overtime here with
Yeah.
us and that
Yeah.
would kind of, you could do
That,
less of the second job.
yeah.
Right. So do the math first, because if you have opportunity to do overtime, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed and that it's mandated.
Mhm.
If you have an opportunity to do overtime at your first job, remember you're getting time and a half for
Yes.
overtime.
That's a great
So
call out. That's a
do the math, and you may not need a second job if you have opportunity to do more overtime at your first job. Just think,
see, that's a good
consideration.
consideration. That's a good
Exactly.
consideration because don't when you have to think about it, and yes, you may work at a stressful job, like Brian was saying, yes, and maybe this and maybe that. You may not even like some of your coworkers or your boss, right? But that's something you got to get past. You honestly have to get past it
Almost
because
made me spit
because
my coffee out.
to make your ends meet, right? Like so,
Yep.
think about that. If I'm making a
Oh my
pretty good
gosh.
chunk of change per hour and I'm hourly, or if I'm
Yep.
salary non-exempt, because there are some situations where you're
Yeah.
salary non-exempt too,
Yep.
and that's
Basically hourly though, but yeah.
and so and like say you work part time, say you only work 2 or 3 hours a day at the other part time job. Well, that might, like Brian was saying, that extra hour per day at your other
Yep.
job, or coming in on a Saturday and
Yep.
collecting that OT on a Saturday might outpay that the other job
The
you're doing.
whole other job.
Something to
Exactly.
consider, right?
Exactly right. Do the
Great
math.
call out,
Yep.
Brian. Yep.
Yep.
Two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say nursing is a great example. When my wife was a floor nurse, she would always be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a second job. I'm gonna get a second job. Just pick up a shift at your job." And they'll always have to remind her, "Just pick up another shift." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? She'd be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? That's right." Because a lot of times it's not, again, it's not guaranteed. But with nursing, it's always somebody who needs a day off, who wants to switch their days, and blah blah
Sure.
blah blah blah. So it depends on your industry. But yeah, it's just a great consideration.
Then number two, plain and simple, there might be some legal and contractual
Yep.
obligations that you need to definitely consider. Number three, time management. Enough said. That's simple enough. Like you want to plan things out carefully to
Yep.
avoid those conflicts of schedules and make sure you have enough rest between jobs because, like
Yeah.
Brian said earlier, burnout is a thing.
Yeah. Burnout is
You
real.
want to
Yep.
have some financial planning consideration in here. Prioritize paying off the right debt first, building an emergency fund if you can, and saving for long term goals. Because if you're just working to just work and everything, and to avoid going home, then yeah, you might have a different problem,
Yeah. That's
And then
yeah.
and then number five is health and well being. Really think about that because, as we did in our last episode, why more Americans are depressed and why more Americans are spending more, it's because it has to do with their self care and stress and fatigue and mental health. So this, you working more doesn't mean it's gonna. Yes, you might be more financially healthy, but
Hmm.
physically, mentally, you might be damaging yourself. So
Yeah,
you
for
really
real.
consider that. You want to consider the tax implications because the more money you earn, potentially more taxes you're gonna have to pay. Is it even worth it?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Pushes you into a higher bracket. 'Cause remember,
Yep.
we did a show on tax brackets and how your income
Mhm.
dictates how much taxes come out of your
Mhm.
check. And think about this is a really good one, tax implications, because it may not be happening on a per check basis with your two jobs because they don't know that
Mhm.
and they don't legally have to if you're not overlapping, by the way. We're going to talk about that. But
Mhm.
if let's say you're doing it right and you're working two different jobs, two different shifts, they don't
Yep.
care about the other job, right? As
Mm.
far as taxes are concerned. So it's not until when you go file that you think you may be thinking you're in one bracket. And then when you go file, tax guy, oh, tax person may be like, whoa, you got two jobs. You're in a higher bracket
Yep.
and now you owe money. So instead of thinking you right, you one job, you may have been getting money back. Oh, I get 3 grand back every year. Oh, this is
Yep.
great. With two jobs, I'm gonna get more back. No, guess what? Those two jobs may have pushed you into another bracket that you're
Mhm.
now not satisfying during your checks, and now you owe
Mhm.
money at the end of the year.
Yep.
So again, there's a considerations that you have to do. You have to do the math. You have to do all this stuff. So my
Yep.
bad. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And then you want to consider the insurance and benefits, right? Because you may work a full time job and be covered in certain areas, which is fine, which is good. But you also want to think about those part time jobs that you may be doing or those gig jobs because they may not offer certain protections like your normal job does, and that may factor in, right? Those things because maybe some gig jobs don't provide you with some levels of coverage that you may get at working at a full-time job or normal job, right? So there's things to consider like that. And then the last thing you want to consider is the long-term goals. Like, why am I doing this? Am I because I have to
Yes.
and I have no choice? Or am I doing this so I can save money? It all factors in, right? Or do you
Yes.
want to work those multiple jobs and have less time with your kids and
For
and
your
and,
family.
and family
Mm.
and miss out on potential
Yeah.
things by doing that? Those are all different things you want to consider as an employee, right? So working multiple jobs might be necessary for some people, and it can provide necessary financial support and additional opportunities. But you have to weigh the benefits and the pros and the cons, weigh those drawbacks, right? And thoroughly consider the personal health, the legal implications, which Brian is going to talk about here, and the long-term goals that you have before you make a decision. You want to make an informed decision, right?
Yep.
So
And
what
I,
you
and
got
I
for us?
just want to, before I get into mine, I want to touch back on a few things. The why, right? The
Mm,
long term goal piece. Because again, because you don't want to burn out. If you're doing it for a specific reason, like to get out of debt, make sure that you do the math, right? Okay, I need to work X amount to make this. I'm gonna get out of a debt, and I know, oh, I only have to do this second job for 6 months or a year or
hmm
whatever. Don't get caught up don't get caught up in the second job beyond the point that you planned for, because then you're definitely
hmm
gonna burn out. Just keep that in mind. Don't lose because you get used to that extra money, and then a lot of people what they do is, oh, I'm making extra money. Oh, I'm gonna just buy a new car. I'm gonna do this, and then you lost your whole purpose, right?
Yep.
Maintain that purpose, and then what else? Yeah, I got you. The workers comp, like how you talked about insurance benefits at the
Yes.
other job, right? Now
Yes. Yes.
what the gig worker, the gig thing is what did it, because like a lot sometimes you do gig work or you're doing off the book work, you do side work type of thing. But guess
Mhm.
what? What if you get hurt on that second job, that off the book second gig work job? There's no workers compensation. There's
Exactly.
now you lost your first job, your main job, because
You
you were
lost
doing
all the
side.
income.
You
Yep.
lost all your income, no
Mhm.
benefit, no coverage, no nothing, no protection because you're on your second. So just something to think about.
Yes. Big nugget, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so yeah, so The things that I wanted to cover were from like a Department of Labor perspective, as far as if you're working two jobs. Because a big question is, wait, do I get overtime if I work two jobs? Yes, only if you're working for the same company. Okay. And and also because we've been there, a lot of some companies have multiple businesses under one parent company, right? If you
Mhm.
know that it's ultimately the same business, and sometimes employees don't even realize this. Like, because I remember when I'm not charter, but four, I was at Four Eyes. They have they had hundreds of locations across the country, but some of them were under different tax IDs, different EINs, which is technically a different entity, but all owned by the same parent group. So the employee didn't realize, or and nor should they have, if they're working from one store to the next store, doing picking up shifts at another store, that they didn't get overtime, and it wasn't because of they shouldn't have. It was just because the system didn't automatically do it across EINs, across
Mhm.
tax IDs, different entities. You had to now manually do a step in
Yeah.
there to get them their overtime. Point is, if you know it's the same company, then yes, you are absolutely due overtime. Now, if you're in two different companies, for example, if you work at Publix during the day, but you work at the movie theater at night, and they're not the same that's not the same company, and you know it to
Yeah.
be true, then you're not going to get overtime there. You're just going to get more money from doing the multiple jobs. So
Yep.
that's a big call out. You absolutely, because there are situations where, oh no, that's another store and you don't work, that's not our entity. No, if it's the same company, you should be getting overtime. Okay.
Yep.
And then let's see, I caught an article out there from Sherm, and again, link is in the show notes. Sherm is an HR, I don't know, source of information. I don't know if there's a governing body, but an official entity in the HR world, and a professional organization. That's a good way to say it. That's
Yes.
SHRM for HR organization. And they have some key points. They have something out there for HR professionals who have employees that work multiple jobs. But this is specifically, like you said, two full-time jobs on the same shift. And this became a thing during the pandemic because now people are working from home, and they think they can get slick and they can work
Mhm.
two jobs on the same shift.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not one to knock anyone's hustle, but I also believe that how you do anything is how you do everything.
Mhm.
So if you can maintain your good to great status, both of them on the same shift, God bless you. But most
Yeah, bless
likely
you
you're
for
not.
real.
You're not. You're going to be mediocre at best at both. And that for me, I cannot do. It's unacceptable for me. For me
Mhm.
as a professional, I cannot be mediocre. I cannot be, he's okay. I have to be, yo, he's really good at his job or he's great at his job. If not, I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it.
No, I
And that's anything, right? That's how I do anything. If I'm not good or great at it, I don't want to do it. But here's some things that employees need to consider if you're trying to do that, right? And this is what, kind of thinking about it from the other lens, this is what HR is thinking of, and it goes both ways, right? The dual employment risk. If you work two full-time jobs, it can lead to burnout, decreased productivity, compromised job performance, and it also poses a risk of conflict of interest and erodes trust within the company. If you know your coworker is doing that, they're gonna be like, this dude getting over, you don't trust them anymore. You know what I mean? There's a lack of trust there because, wait a minute, I don't want to give it to them. I don't want to collaborate with them because they're working two jobs, something like that. Now, if you are doing this and you're worried about getting caught, your employer does have to verify this, okay? They can't do it on speculation. They, like most things, when a company terminates you or has anything, they must have cause. They must have documented cause. We talk about employment. Oh, I'm in employment at will state. Yeah, that doesn't mean they can just fire you at will without
Mhm.
cause, okay? It just means they can
A
fire you
call out.
with cause without
Good
having to
call.
go through a legal battle of it.
Good call out.
If your job has the documentation and the backup for cause, you're gone. You're gone.
Yep.
If they
You're
specifically,
out.
you're out of here. If they can point to the days and times and incidents, if they can point to the fact that you've impacted financial productivity and all, you're out.
Mhm.
So same thing applies here. They have to verify that you actually do have two jobs overlapping, right? Now,
Mhm.
this again, I'm the call out. This is two jobs that are on the same shift.
Yep.
Okay. If you have different shifts, it is okay and it's legal and it's fine. You may have to how we talked about the legal, how Walt had covered the legal aspects of it, like it's not a conflict of interest, right? You may not be able to work for Google and Apple at the same time, Microsoft and Apple at the same time. They are conflicting
Hmm.
competitors in most regard, right? They don't
Yeah.
want you working. That is a conflict for them, right?
Yeah.
So things like that. So what else is it? Oh, number three is open communication. If suspected, engage in confidential conversations to understand the reasons behind the dual employment. So meaning HR wants a good HR department is going to want to know why you're doing this, and maybe there's something that they can do to help. Hey, if it's money you need, this is the way they should be going through things. But
Hmm.
on the now, number four is more on the employee side, company policies. If you're working two jobs, you need to be aware of your company policy on outside employment. Some companies allow it if there's no conflict of interest, right? You see the repeating patterns here, the repeating
Hmm.
things that we're saying, right? And while others may have strict prohibitions, they may not allow it at all, but you don't know unless you read your handbook, right? You got to read your handbook and understand that, because if you're in violation of your company handbook and they prove it, guess what? That's all the backup they need. We validated that you're doing this. And in this article, I believe, or one of these, I think it was this article, there was an employee who was suspected, and that employer called the other employer and was
Wow.
just like, yep, because they, boom, instant backup, instant verification and validation, instant termination. And guess what? You can get terminated from both jobs at that point.
Yep.
So you gotta be aware. Again, I don't knock anybody's hustle, but be aware of what you're doing. Again, number five is supporting solutions. Like employers might work with employees to adjust their compensation or provide a different schedule. You know what? Hey, they're an amazing employee and you got a great relationship with them.
Hmm.
Your employer might say, look, why don't you work a different shift? Keep the other job, work a different shift for us. I can help you out. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Again, look at the handbooks and the rules. Rules regarding outside employment should be clearly outlined in the handbook. So if it's there, and
Kind
then
of
let's see.
coincides with number four, the company
Yeah,
policies, right?
exactly, exactly. And then work environment. Employers are encouraged to create a healthy work environment. Promotes balances more again for the employer, but that's it's. I just wanted to extract some of the key points from this article from the employee's perspective. So that one was more for the employee. But again, understanding these points can help you as an employee navigate the complexities of dual employment and maintain transparency with your employers, because you should not try to do multiple jobs. And that rolls us right into our safe talk conversation,
Yeah, get it.
right? So perfectly crafted. Safe talk question is, should employers penalize or terminate employees for working multiple jobs? There's a
Term for me, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that should they penalize or terminate employees for working multiple jobs? No, because if you're going to do that, you're going to have to make sure as an employer, you got to make sure that it's clearly defined, clearly outlined in your company policies, in your employee handbook as to why that may be a problem. Now, if you don't have any verbiage on that, you want to be smart about that because this can lead to litigation. As
Yep.
the employee can reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, they fired me, and I was doing a good job. I got good reviews. I got no, my job was not impacted, but they found out I was working another job,
Hmm.
and they fired me."
Yep. Yep.
So that for me, you want to be smart about it, right?
Yeah. And look, sorry. From an employer's point of view, or either or employee, my sentiment is the same. If you're doing overlapping, if you're trying to be slick and work the same 2 8-hour shifts, 9 to 5, two different jobs, how can I say, you're going to neglect one or
Yeah.
the other, right? Or both. You're going to be mediocre at best at both. If you're pulling it off, then guess what? It's probably not a full time job. It's not your fault because
Yeah.
you got two part time jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you could successfully do two full time jobs on the same shift, then guess what? It's not too part-time job. It's not two full-time
Yeah.
jobs. Or maybe you're overqualified and you're able to do it really easy. And guess what? You could probably go get one job that
Yeah.
pays as much as both of them. You know what I mean? There's something really
Yes.
wrong there if you can work two full-time jobs in the same. So anywho, if you're should you get terminated? I think penalize. Yes, my opinion is yes. If you're working two full time jobs or two jobs, period, overlapping same shift, and your employer can prove it, yes, you should be penalized or terminated.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah,
Fair. All right.
yeah.
Good. Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok.
Thank you for being part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.